It's just gone 8 p.m. and you're watching Newsplus this Friday evening. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Wadzanai Sansole. Now, a lot has been happening and we shall be catching you up on all of that in this bulletin this hour. These are your headlines. Newsplus will take you to Mutare for highlights from the 22nd Annual National People's Conference, which was officially opened by President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who's also the party's first secretary. The physical identification of the bodies of the 43 people who died in a bus accident last Sunday in Makhado town, among them Zimbabweans and Malawians, is set to begin on Monday upon the completion of the post-mortems by South African forensic experts. Our Bait Bridge correspondent Tupeyo Mlea is on standby with details for that. We will also take a look at some tech news where young Zimbabweans are breaking new ground, turning innovation into action. And for your sports news, the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League enters the home stretch, with Moors taking on log leaders Scotland as the pick of the fixtures. Right, we now give you all the main news in greater detail. As the Zanu PF family converges in Mutare for the 22nd National People's Conference, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has challenged the party to reflect, modernize and develop strategies that respond to the demands of a changing society. The president also emphasized unity, discipline and innovation as the party gears up for the 2028 elections. President Mnangagwa said hosting this year's conference in Mutare, a city that's deeply intertwined with the liberation struggle, was very symbolic, offering the party an opportunity to draw lessons from the past while shaping the future.
Manicaland province has a rich revolutionary history, and communities like others across the country contributed with their blood for the liberation, for the freedom and independence of our motherland Zimbabwe. You generously hosted and provided sanctuary to many of these
to remain united and focused as preparations for the 2028 harmonized elections begin. He reiterated the need for discipline and constitutional adherence across party ranks, warning against corruption and divisive tendencies.
Conference theme, which I caught, Attainment of Vision 2030 through economic empowerment and value addition, end of quote, is most timely. It avails us the chance to refine and refocus our ongoing people-centered revolution to develop, modernize, and industrialize our motherland, Zimbabwe, for the shared prosperity of our communities in our great motherland, our country, Zimbabwe. In keeping with the long-held traditions and internal democratic culture of our party, I invite the conference to engage in factual, frank, and constructive discussions. As we debate, let us respect each other's divergent views. The upcoming implementation cycle of the National Development Strategy number 2 and the harmonized general elections remains of uttermost importance. The party's machinery should never rest but remain well-oiled to serve the people and advance the development of our motherland, Zimbabwe.
And still with the conference, the Zanu PF Presidium spoken with one voice, calling for unity, discipline and economic transformation. Vice Presidents Constantino Chiwenga and Kembo Mahadi, along with Party Chairman Opam Chinguri Kashiri, highlighted the need to reinvent the party and drive national development. Vice President Chiwenga urged party members to remain disciplined and guard against moral decadence and corruption, saying this would be the truest way to honor the sacrifices of the liberation war heroes who brought Zimbabwe's independence.
Today, as we gather on this sacred ground, we are summoned by the spirit of endurance, honesty, unity, and service. The foreign are watching us. Their blood demands integrity. Their voices cry out against all ills, corruption, laziness, and moral decay. Our theme this year, Attainment of Vision 2030 through economic empowerment and value addition, captures the central task before us. That is, to build a people-centered economy that empowers every Zimbabwean and ensures that our national wealth benefits all.
Vice President Kembo Mohadi reiterated the importance of teamwork and unity, calling on members to work together in crafting solutions that improve the lives of all Zimbabweans.
We see the dynamism of private sector, the commitment of the public sector, and the welcomed expertise from our diaspora. This is not a sign of weakness. It is a testament of our confidence as a party and a nation. We welcome those with capital to build our factories. We honor those with the technical expertise to modernize our agriculture and mines. In this grand mission of value addition and empowerment, there is no them and there is no us. We are all one, united under the banner of a prosperous Zimbabwe.
Party Chairman and Defence Minister Opam Chinguri Kashiri said the conference theme, which is Attainment of Vision 2030 through Economic Empowerment in Value Addition, is in line with the country's development blueprints, NDS-1 and the forthcoming NDS-2.
Through the conference and since the advent of the Second Republic, conferences have evolved into serious business fora characterized by symbiotic exchange of ideas on how to propel our mass party from strength to strength towards attainment of Vision 2030.
And in other news, President Mnangagwa has sent condolences to his Kenyan counterpart, President William Ruto, and the people of Kenya following the death of former Kenyan Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga. Odinga, who died on October 15, is viewed as a towering figure in Kenyan politics, known for his unwavering commitment to the development of Kenya. Now, President Mnangagwa said the late former Kenyan Prime Minister will be remembered for his distinguished service to the development of Kenya. And moving on to an update on the SA bus crash, the physical identification of the bodies of the 43 people who died in a bus accident last Sunday in Makado town is set to begin on Monday upon the completion of the post-mortems by South African forensic experts. Now, among the deceased are 36 adults and 7 minors. Some were Zimbabweans and some were Malawians. The postmortems are being carried out at Chilitsini hospitals before all the bodies will be moved to a mortuary at Siloam Hospital Mortuary, where they will be collected by doves for repatriation for burial in Zimbabwe. Now, our Beitbridge correspondent Tupeyo Mleya gives us more details.
The physical identification of the bodies of the 43 people who died in a bus accident last Sunday in Makado town, among them Zimbabweans and Malawians, is set to begin on Monday next week upon the completion of the postmortems by South African forensic experts. Among the deceased are 36 adults and 7 minors. By the end of the day today, only 3 bodies were yet to be identified by their next of kin, with officials from the Zimbabwean government still verifying the total number of those still admitted in the medical facilities around Limpopo province. The postmortems are being carried out at Chiridzini hospitals before all the bodies will be moved to a mortuary at Siloam Hospital, where they will be collected by DAF's funeral services for repatriation into Zimbabwe.
Now, earlier this week, the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure Development launched the first phase of public consultations on the proposed Road Accident Fund Bill that's currently underway in different parts of the country. This bill aims to provide timely medical assistance, funeral expenses, and compensation to victims of road traffic accidents and their families.
Consultations kicked off in Bulawayo and moved to Gwanda, Gweru and Chinhoyi as the government seeks input from communities across the country. In Gweru, citizens appreciate the proposal but however called for accountability to ensure the funds are not abused.
They want the road accident fund yesterday as it were, but what they are saying is that there should be safeguards to ensure total accountability of the fund.
The Road Accident Fund is intended to close critical gaps in the current post-accident management systems offered by insurance companies. But concerns have risen on taxpayers, with some wondering what it will mean for ordinary Zimbabweans.
Because much as we want to say but the moment you say it's open to share review, we always tend to realize that
in Chinhoyi, the youths have expressed strong support for the proposal. They described it as a much-needed development that prioritizes road safety and victim support.
Road Accident Fund. It's going to be a beneficial fund. Yakanonoka kuya munyika. As tinotenda president. Kuti vakaitorao kuti Zimbabwe ive amongst vanhu vanewo bill rakadai kuti munhu wese aita accident.
The fund will also strengthen the capacity of emergency service providers and healthcare institutions to respond more effectively to road traffic emergencies. The initiative is being coordinated in collaboration with the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe, which will play a key role in implementation and awareness efforts. For ZTM Prime, I am Sitachisiwe Kwaza.
We still have a lot coming up on Newsplus, but shortly after the break, we'll take a look at Zimbabwe's health system that's gotten a boost with a new framework.
Good evening and welcome to the greatest show on earth. This is a people's game. They will be bubbling about this one for weeks and months to come. Let's go!
Wherever you are, whatever your reason, it's on SuperSport all season long. Reconnect and stay connected to DSTV Compact and get the best football on us.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned to Newsplus this Friday evening. Now, Zimbabwe's young engineers are breaking new ground, turning innovation into action through the National Engineering Students Awards for Research and Innovation. The event showcased the country's best emerging talent, with students presenting solutions that align with national goals for sustainable development and industrialization.
A new wave of innovation is taking shape in Zimbabwe's engineering sector, as students from tertiary institutions across the country present groundbreaking inventions aimed at solving real-world challenges. From robotics to renewable energy, this year's competition, running under the theme Engineering Innovation for a Sustainable and Smart Future, is pushing the boundaries of Education 5.0. NAST Executive Dean of Engineering, Dr. Busisa Mthunzi, said the awards were a platform for nurturing talent and linking academia with industry to drive homegrown solutions.
We are actually following Education 5.0, as was given by the Minister of Higher Education through His Excellency, so that at the end of the day we are able to close the gap that is there, that has been there between universities and industry. This closure of the gap certainly will help in actually coming up with solutions that will be of benefit.
Among the most notable presentations was a demining device developed by students from the Zimbabwe National Defense University, led by Captain Pamenas Chepiri.
In the sense that we want to eliminate the risks that are faced by members of the explosive ordnance disposal officers whenever they are charged with the responsibility of diffusing or getting rid of an explosive ordnance. I would like to take an example, say there's a bomb scare, and we are not very sure whether it is there, and we do not even know the conditions under which it will detonate. Instead of risking a person's life, we now employ an object or a robot of this nature. This one is the prototype.
Students showcased innovations in agriculture, including AI-powered automation systems for tobacco auction floors. Engineer Mtunzi said these innovations demonstrate the power of education and innovation in shaping a modern economy.
In most of the universities and colleges, the innovations that they've been doing were actually left in the shelves, and they were not contributing much to our country, as it were. But now we have got most of the universities have got innovation and business development departments.
Students also expressed hope that continued collaboration between universities and industry would lead to the commercialization of their inventions, supporting industrial growth and job creation.
Ngiyenza i-production engineering ku-mechanical engineering. Namhlanje sibelela ngelihle kakhulu bese liphathelwe yi-nursery. I-nursery isenzele ilanga elihle ngoba isihlanganise lamanye ama-students ayenza i-engineering asuka khatshana kwezindawo besiphathele okunye abakwenza ku-engineering.
We're doing reuse of waste generated from water treatment process from Criterion Bulawayo City Council, right? So this project was very vital for us as a chemical engineer because our group was a group of 5, which were all chemical engineers. So this opened a lot of ideas, a lot of doors.
The awards highlight Zimbabwe's growing innovation ecosystem where academic research meets real-world application. From safety innovations to smart agriculture, Zimbabwe's emerging engineers are not just imagining the future, they are building it. For ZTN Prime, I'm Andile Chuma in Bulawayo.
And now Andile Chuma gives us a report on how Zimbabwe has taken a major step towards building a more resilient health system with the establishment of a National Public Health Institute, a central body designed to coordinate disease surveillance, research and emergency response. Now, this move is backed by the European Union and it aligns with the Africa Centers for Disease Control's call for stronger self-reliant national health systems.
This is a defining moment for Zimbabwe's public health system. The country is setting up a National Public Health Institute, a one-stop hub for coordination, research and rapid response to disease outbreaks. Backed by a €4.2 million investment from the European Union, the Institute is expected to improve data-driven decision-making and ensure a quicker, more efficient response to health threats. Health and Childcare Minister Dr. Douglas Mombeshura said the National Public Health Institute demonstrates the country's commitment to preparedness.
Establishing the Zimbabwe National Public Health Institute demonstrates foresight, leadership, and commitment to the health and security of our people. It signifies that we as a nation are not waiting for the next health emergency to act. We are acting now to prevent, prepare, and protect.
The minister said the institute will serve as the coordination hub for the One Health approach, an integrated model linking human, animal, and environmental health.
I wish to express my deep appreciation to the World Health Organization and the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that is Africa CDC, for their unwavering technical leadership and partnership in this journey. The World Health Organization continues to play a global normative role, setting standards, providing guidance, and ensuring that principles of health security and system strengthening are globally consistent, yet locally relevant.
Senior Public Health Advisor in the Office of the President and Cabinet, Dr. Agnes Mahomva, said this will help Zimbabwe accelerate progress towards universal health coverage and regional health goals.
A National Public Health Institute is a must for Zimbabwe. I think the data was presented to us yesterday is very clear, and the challenges we know, and we are saying we have a good structure that has been working for many, many years, and yet the outcomes are not good. And yet we are clearly seeing the challenges that need to be addressed. Establishment and operationalization is urgent, and it has got to be now, but it needs to be very consultative, and I'm so glad we are here. All stakeholders, including government ministries, departments, agencies, institutions, and at all levels, whether it's the technical implementation.
The European Union, which is supporting similar projects across Africa, said Zimbabwe's NPHI will be key to long-term resilience.
The Regional Team Europe Initiative Support for National Public Health Institutes in Africa responds to the call for a new public health order in Africa, Agenda 2063, and is guided by the Africa CDC framework. It is part of the Global Gateway Health Investment Package presented at the 6th EU-AU Summit in 2022 at ministerial level, and focuses on building corporate capacities in national public health institutes in sub-Saharan Africa.
Once operational, Zimbabwe's National Public Health Institute will align the country with the Africa CDC's new public health order, a continental vision for strong, self-reliant institutions capable of leading their own health security agendas. For ZTN Prime, I'm Andile Chuma in Bulawayo.
Zimbabwean health stakeholders are calling for the ring-fencing of sugar and fatty food taxes to ensure the funds are used for their intended health purposes. They say such measures will strengthen domestic health financing, particularly at a time when donor funding continues to decline. More in the following report.
Last year, the government introduced sugar taxes to raise funds towards the treatment of cancer. That year alone, Treasury collected $30 million United States dollars. With limited external support, stakeholders say it is time Zimbabwe strengthens homegrown financing mechanisms. This call comes as the country intensifies efforts to achieve universal health coverage. Speaking at a health financing dialogue, Community Working Group on Health Director Itai Rusike emphasizes the need for adequate domestic funding.
I think this meeting is also coming at a time when the country has been facing the withdrawal of funding by some major donors. So it is important for us as a country to also come together and look at strategies in terms of strengthening domestic health financing.
Rusike contends that it is important for health taxes to be used for their intended purposes.
But for us as stakeholders, it's also important to look at those various taxes, in terms of are they being used for their intended purposes, and in terms of how are they being also managed, in terms of issues of transparency and accountability.
For the 2025 budget, the Treasury allocated 28.3 billion ZiG towards the health sector. It fell short of their budget declaration target, which calls on African nations to dedicate at least 15% of their budgets to health care. Zimbabwe's health sector has long relied on donor support, but recent funding cuts have exposed the risk of that dependence. However, stakeholders say ring-fencing health taxes will help boost domestic health financing and move Zimbabwe closer to universal health coverage.
From the AIDS levy, where we've created the National AIDS Trust Fund, where the funds mobilized from the AIDS levy actually deposited into that fund, and they are then utilized or governed through the National AIDS Council, which is a board that is representative of the key stakeholders in the country. So I think that's one of the recommendations, that let's create probably a legal framework to support ring fencing of the sugar tax, but also even the other taxes, but the sugar tax in particular. Why? Because it's been created specifically to help in the fight against NCDs and in particular cancer. So it will be critical to establish that, to ring fence that through supporting legislation.
Community health workers bring health services straight to the people, especially at the grassroots. Community health workers say the funds collected from the sugar and fatty foods taxes should be protected and channeled directly towards health programs that benefit people at the grassroots.
Chikukumbira kuti isusu veutano tiwanewo mari yakawanda. Mabhajeti ari kuuya aisawo mari yakawanda kuutano.
With declining donor funding and rising health costs, effective management of local health taxes could be key to achieving universal health coverage. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I am Talent Gori in Harare.
The Zimbabwe Community Health Intervention Research has intensified its fight against drug and substance abuse by launching a drop-in center in Harare that's aimed at helping users access counseling, to also access rehabilitation and support services. Let's get more in the following report.
cases of drug and substance abuse continue to rise across the country, Zechire has taken a community-based approach to bring help closer to those affected. The newly launched Gashura Drop-In Center is a game changer as youth have a safe space not only for accessing services but also for discussing issues affecting them in their line of work. So this helps us as young people to stay away from the age of using drugs. If you check, there are a lot of young people out there who are using drugs and substances in their different forms. So this drop-in center. The initiative is part of Zechire's broader campaign to reduce the impact of drug use among young people, particularly in urban communities where substance abuse is rampant.
So during our sessions, we then realized that young people are facing a multitude of challenges, and one of them is drug and substance use. We realized that there's need, for mental health counseling. There's need for also empowering the young people to know how they can also prevent issues of drug and substance use. So that's how we then came up with this facility.
Zechire Director Walter Chikanya says there are plans to take these drop-in centers to high-density suburbs where many young people are mostly affected by drug and substance abuse. He says Mavuku will be the second area where they will establish a drop-in center.
There are a lot of young people waiting for us in that area who need these services. And now, because the pilot has been very successful, we've received quite a number of young people here. It will then help us to then go now to where they are.
Health experts say such community-driven efforts are critical in addressing the root causes of substance abuse and in promoting awareness, early intervention, and long-term recovery.
When you are overwhelmed, you are suffering from depression, you are anxious, you've got the post-traumatic stress disorder, the qualified individuals that we have at our organization can actually help you to come to terms and to cope with what you are going through.
The drop-in center is expected to serve hundreds of users each month, with expansion plans aimed at reaching high-density suburbs where the crisis is most pronounced. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I am Talent Kore in Harare.
In another one of our local updates, the cotton industry has welcomed the development of climate resilience varieties like the short compact statured cotton to scale up the sector. This variety can withstand the different climatic conditions and matures faster than the traditional breeds. In an interview, the principal director of the Cotton Research Institute, Marco Mare, said that the institute has developed cotton varieties and adopted innovative practices which will promote precision agriculture and the adoption of green technology. Cotton production for you now.
Through Cotton Research Institute is taking several steps to address the challenges being faced by the cotton sector, and this includes implementing modern agricultural practices as well as promoting climate resilient varieties like the short compact statured cottons, and also enhancing capacity building through training programs. So these initiatives aim to improve cotton production, productivity, quality and sustainability, because once farmers are trained, there is high chances of sustainability in terms of continuity in the change of livelihoods in a positive direction. So the new modern trainings will also equip stakeholders with cutting-edge knowledge and skills.
Now, still to come in the second half of our bulletin, we'll take a look at your global updates. We'll give you your business stories, entertainment and sport.
Welcome wherever you are. And Mamouche, room to shoot! And he well and truly did! It's an opportunity, what a shot to Zanu! Tarkowski! Scott's got to be careful, Bukayo Saka! But it's Salah, and that one delivers!
Never miss a play, home or away. Stream all Premier League games live on Showmax.
Harare, tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
On to your global updates. In the mineral-rich hills of North Kivu, farmers displaced by violence have traded their shovels for pickaxes, spending long days mining cobalt, the blue gold, powering the global green transition, and used by Western electrical vehicle firms. This has become their only means of survival. The DRC produces over 70% of the world's cobalt. That's a key component in batteries powering smartphones, laptops, and electric vehicles.
Tusafishe pori juu hapa njapanda normalema activite principale tu ni shamba, tunakulia tu mashamba, hakuna makazi. Kujiretruvia hapa ni kuchimba kwenda alima mashamba, ndio tunapatikana hapa. Normalema haiko kazi ya kusema mtu ndio utapata mo. Kama hauna kashimu wala mlie, haiko kazi ya kusema mtu utapata mo kitu cha maana hapana.
Arctic Circle Chairman Olafur Ragnar Grimson has sounded the alarm that climate and energy tipping points are fast approaching, urging global cooperation and praising China's scientific leadership as the 2025 Arctic Circle Assembly opened in Iceland. Beyond climate concerns, Grimson also highlighted the energy challenges posed by technological advancements.
We are close to the tipping point, definitely, because if you take Greenland, which is our neighbor, the huge ice sheet in Greenland, Greenland is the largest island in the world, mostly covered by ice, is already melting big time. And if only a quarter of the Greenland ice sheet melts, it will lead to 2 meters rise in sea level.
The 6th Committee of the 80th Session of the UN General Assembly convened to deliberate on the issue of crimes against humanity. China supports lawful prevention and punishment of crimes against humanity, but opposes politicization and stigmatization of such crimes.
近年来，危害人类罪这一概念屡遭政治操弄，一些国家热衷于给其他国家贴上危害人类罪的标签，但却对自身和盟友大规模系统性侵害人权的行为视而不见。各方应共同反对双重标准，反对将危害人类罪政治化、标签化。
In other global news, 2 tropical storms unleashed torrential rains and triggered landslides earlier this month in Mexico, wiping out homes and roads and causing heavy economic losses to local farmers. Floods and landslides destroyed sections of highways and rural roads, cutting around 300 towns off from the outside world at one point.
Lluvia fueron 5 horas de que nos inundamos. Sí, pues tiramos refrigerador, colchones, pues ropita que ya no pudimos.
Newsplus will be right back with business.
Pardon? Look up. Oh! Okay.
I'm Ollie J, your host and captain for this technological voyage.
They say that curiosity killed the cat. Well, we say curiosity makes you swipe.
Okay, there's a real big one. Oh, okay.
Okay, take the elevator.
Okay, that one came out of...
Look up.
From some tech-tastic adventures to some out-of-this-world Zimbabwean inventions to the scientifically mind-boggling, we show it all.
What we're looking at is 2 charging ports to charge the vehicle.
And things get electric. Catch Swipe right here on ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294. Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting, and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erika Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play. The one story where you can't get out of your head. Wakatarisa munhu so Erika like where you are sitting. Nozongokona bata face so pasina munhu.
Wakasiya music yako yo afro chakuti ndo music manje no Zimbabwe.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so
Shona kana kuti chindevere kana mumwe mutaure muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe ndiwo rupawo rwako ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erika Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
It's time now to take a look at what's happening in the world of business. And we start with the ongoing de-dollarization debate. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe says the roadmap towards a single local currency by 2030 is beginning to take shape, with the Apex Bank expressing confidence that foreign currency reserves will hit the $1 billion mark by year end. But as Melissa Chatikobo reports from the CEO Africa Annual Roundtable in Victoria Falls, the issue of market confidence remains at the center of the de-dollarization debate.
At the 11th edition of the CEO Africa Annual Roundtable, discussions were intense under the theme, The Big Debate, De-dollarization, a new era or a dead end. The Arab Reserve says the transition towards a monocurrency system by 2030 is gathering pace, with indicators of economic stability, easing inflation, and increased foreign currency inflows.
Now we are, as it ends September, 900 million, and we are actually targeting to hit 1 billion of reserves by the end of the year. And these reserves are 4 times the cover to our ZIG reserve money.
The central bank insists that market fundamentals will drive the transition rather than policy directives.
The transition to a monocurrency, as far as we are at the central bank, will be gradual and market-led. We don't want a monocurrency regime which is legislated. We have been there before and it didn't work.
While market players commend the Reserve Bank for improving monetary stability and restoring some discipline in financial systems, they remain cautious.
And remember, this era began with a bit of a false start for ZIG. Okay, so let's assume between April and October, when we had that collapse in the ZIG, the new governor, let's assume he was cleaning shop. So he's cleaned up shop and it's worked for a year. I would say give us another 2-3 years and then I'm fully persuaded, governor.
The debate highlighted the delicate balance between policy progress and market perception. Business leaders called for transparency and dialogue.
We have to have that dialogue before any permanent decisions are made, because like you say, Madam Governor, they have lasting implications. And unfortunately, history teaches us, and it tends to repeat itself. So we can't afford a situation where we get to 31st of December 2030 and then find ourselves making decisions that none of us had really accepted at the onset.
As the monocurrency journey unfolds, the Reserve Bank insists the process will be gradual and market-driven. But as discussions at the CEO Africa Roundtable revealed, rebuilding confidence remains one of the biggest currency challenges yet. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I am Melissa Chatikobo in Victoria Falls.
The Zimbabwean National Chamber of Commerce has thrown its full weight behind the government's business regulatory reform program, describing it as bold, inclusive, and a foundation for sustainable growth. Now, one of Zimbabwe's biggest and influential lobby groups believes the reform program is critical to creating the required pathway towards achieving the country's Vision 2030 of an upper middle income economy. In detailed submissions to the Ministry of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion ahead of the 2026 National Budget presentation, ZNCC commended authorities for maintaining an open and consultative approach that actually keeps the private sector at the heart of economic transformation. In other business news, Caledonia Mining Corporation is strengthening its position as one of the biggest gold producers in Zimbabwe, targeting production of 300,000 ounces over the medium term, anchored by the Bilboes project. In 2023, the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange listed mining group spent $65.7 million to buy the Bilboes Gold Project, which is situated in Bubi District, Matabeleland North Province. And presently, Caledonia, whose flagship is Blanket Mine in Gwanda, Matabeleland South Province, and also owns the Mali Green Goldfields and Glenhelm projects in Gweru, Midlands Province, seeks to become a multi-asset gold producer in Zimbabwe. Newsplus will be right back.
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
That guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Where music transcends boundaries, where rhythm and melody unite the hearts of people, comes a show that celebrates the power of music like never before. Get ready to dive into a sonic journey that will leave you mesmerized and yearning for more. Welcome to the captivating world of Z Vibes. Vibe to it, baby.
Welcome back, gospel music lovers, to another season of My Ultimate Gospel 10. Your ultimate destination for soul-stirring melodies and inspirational stories.
Might prepare me for a good day.
And God is faithful because He's holy.
Like, wow, this is beautiful.
Each week, they'll be revealing their top 10 gospel songs. Meet Miss Becky K, the dynamic and passionate new presenter for Season 3.
If you are ready, let's get into My Ultimate Gospel.
Zim dancehall sensation Takura Blot Chiwoniso has set social media abuzz after checking into the Matrix Rehabilitation Center in Harare in his fight against drug abuse. The Harare Cup Clash winner, who recently opened up about his desire to confront his demons, received help from a local clergyman, Pastor Prophet Kudakwashe Jose of Victorious Generation International Church. In his message after sending Blot to the Matrix Rehabilitation Center, he highlighted that he was merely providing the chanter with a chance to renew his life.
My desire is to see them being freed from drug abuse. This is the reason why we sent our brother Blot to the rehabilitation center, Matrix, as a way of fighting together against drug abuse. I want to thank God that our brother Blot, I believe you'll be free, you'll be fine, and I believe you'll be set free from drug abuse. So at church we pray, and the rehabilitation centers, they do their part. So I want to thank the communities, the church, our government, and everyone who is standing against drug abuse, drug addiction. We want to thank God for how God is using them to fight against this. This is a demon. This is demonic. So together
If we fight this, we win together.
Names of the 16 candidates that are being considered to join the new Zimura board have just been released. This comes after questions were being raised on how decisions were being made and how funds were being distributed to artists by the previous board. The names are Amuli Gift, Alexio Gwenzi, Hood Mudiwa, Kunonga Victor, Samkange Diana, Tagwire Tembalami, Mbofu Derek, Nyamkapa Tinashe, Kachambwa Willis, Mpembe Andrew, Tapomwa Shingirai, Batani First, Ngube Nathaniel Puti Dingumuzi, Hudson Simbarashe, and Garakara Joseph. Today is a Friday. Let's now take a look at the entertainment events lined up for this weekend.
Kasolaga Braai Fest celebrates a decade of bonds forged over a shared love of braai and music. The Braai Fest will be held at Glamis Arena tomorrow. Now here is something for all theatre lovers. Africa Voices Now, a festival of new African plays, makes Harare debut this weekend with 3 world premiere plays.
We brought in someone to help our Zimbabwean set designers work on the sets. We brought in a lot of support because we want to leave skills on the ground and build our sector. That is the heart of Africa Voices Now. It'll also be a very good time. We're going to have Hope Masike and other artists come and perform in our chill hour before performances. There'll be a nice place to chill out. So we are very, very excited to bring this to the Zimbabwean community.
The much anticipated Ruskavana Madran will be taking place on Saturday at Donbrook. Participants will be tackling the course and testing themselves for an amazing cause to support Kids Can.
Can Moors stop Scotland's title charge? That story and more in sport.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J. All right.
Put your seatbelt on.
Dental checkups, experiments, games.
The mixture is making bubbles and the bubbles have changed color. Our balloon has been fueled by carbon dioxide.
We have it all right here on Happy Sprouts. Catch us exclusively on City and Prime, DSTV channel 294.
It is a big weekend in the Castle Lager Premiership. On one hand, log leaders Scotland face dark horses, Moors, at Rufaro on Saturday, while Highlanders and Dynamo's clash of giants is on at Barberfields on Sunday. The first battle is about the title and the other relegation, but interest in the matches is in equal measure. Dynamo's coach Kelvin Kaindu speaks about his return to Barberfields.
Yeah, like I said, I've got a bit of knowledge concerning the atmosphere at BF, how the crowd can influence the performance of an individual or the performance of the team. These are things that we are working on them psychologically and mentally. We need the players that have got the mental fitness for them to play under the massive crowd, and we know it's going to be different, but all we need is just to be composed, play our game, pick points as we have been picking. If you look at the teams that at the bottom. I think one game makes a difference from where we have been. We have been in the relegation zone for quite some time, and we just hope that we don't get back there, because there are a few games that are remaining. I think 4 games remaining, 12 points to be played for. We want to push up a bit, and just to give us an advantage.
Highlanders coach Peter de Jong says the officiating should be fair to bring out the best from the clash.
It is also important for the football in Zimbabwe that there is a very good referee and linesman and fourth official, because, give an example, I saw the game in Harare, Dynamos, Nikisi, and that was not fair play. That you and your colleagues that right clear and not things right on the right way. I respect for referees, I respect for linesmen, maar we need wel fair play. Yeah? Dat is wel important for football. And I think that also you did see the game Dynamos Nikisi. How is it possible? As the game is dead because the referee did blow, yeah, and for a free kick, that then from there is coming a call because the linesman put the flag in the air. It's a strange situation because at that moment the game is dead. Yeah, on that moment I saw the game. We received never free kicks around the box opponent, and I saw in that game that Dynamos received 8 free kicks in 90 minutes. That's very, very much.
De Jong stays focused on their survival as they head into the match with very fine margins at play.
The target is gewoon to survive. Dat is de target. And I told that al vanaf day one. Dus dat is de target. The target is gewoon to survive. And surviving do you with everyone. Yeah? People, yeah, want to understand, and I can explain. Yeah? It is not only training and coaching. Yeah? Top clubs, running, yeah, is always a total package. Yeah? Dat doe je met je fans, dat doe je met de office, dat doe je met de executive committee. Dus een total package. En ik denk dat ik enough say. Maybe in a later stadium I'm more clear about it. But it's not only coaching and training. Maar het is ook important dat we de right things right in the media. I'm satisfied with the way we work. The players are eager. The players make steps. There is fighting spirit. And we need nog 4 points in the league. 39 points we are safe. That is the target.
Other matches this weekend, FC Platinum are at home to Telwan in Shishavane on Saturday, while Simbabora take on Ngezi Platinum Stars in a big top 4 clash the same day. On Sunday, all eyes will be on the relegation battles as Highlanders meet Dynamos at Barberfield Stadium and Caps United host Manica Diamonds at the Rufaro Stadium. Bikita Minerals play her rentals on Monday at Sakuba Stadium, rounding off match day 31 with only 3 games left before the season comes to an end. In other sports news, Zimbabwe Cricket has announced a 16-man squad for the one-off test match against Afghanistan to be played from Monday at Harare Sports Club. The squad features a few changes from the group that took part in Zimbabwe's last test series against New Zealand in Bulawayo in August. Left arm seamer Richard Ngarava returns after being rested, while Brad Evans has earned a recall for what could be his second test appearance, having last featured in the longest format in February 2023 against the West Indies. Now, 2 players are in line for potential test debuts. That's Antam Nakvi, a right-handed batter and off-spinner who recently qualified to represent Zimbabwe, and Tinotenda Maposa, a promising young fast bowler. Now, Ruvimbo joins us live to discuss the Chevron's chances. Ruvimbo, good evening. Tell me, what are the chances Zimbabwe will do well against Afghanistan?
Well, look, I think it would be remiss of us to actually think that this is a time
for us to find pushovers in Afghanistan. Afghanistan themselves have really been pushing themselves up the rankings. We've seen even in terms of junior level cricket, they've been doing very well for themselves, reaching semi-finals, reaching finals in the under-19 cricket World Cups, and seeing all of that talent beginning to progress to senior level. So I think Afghanistan is not going to be a pushover, and yes, we need to perform. This is maybe one of the sides that we should expect to perform a little bit better than we did against the likes of New Zealand and South Africa, who are much higher ranked when it comes to Test cricket. But I think we need to just track back and look at what happened in the Test series that took place down at Queen's Sports Club, where initially, Zimbabwe looked like they were very powerful. We saw Brian Bennett doing pretty well as well, scoring a pretty decent ton. But also at the same time, we saw Afghanistan showing up with their batting patiently and being able to score 600 plus runs and then almost putting us in trouble. So I think at the end of it all, Afghanistan is going to be a very tough proposition for the Chevrons as they try to maybe eke out a victory in this one-off test.
Now, Ravimbo, you talked about Brian Bennett, who seems to be the flag bearer at the moment. What must Zimbabwe do to help him continue to flourish?
Well, I think you've got that one perfectly correct. Brian Bennett has been our shining star, and it has been quite disappointing to see how the rest of the batting order has not been really able to complement him in the way that it should. So the rest of the batting order needs to step up. I think that's the only way for Zimbabwe to flourish, and also for them to remove some of the weight that they've placed on Brian Bennett. It will be key for senior batters that will be coming into the Test match, maybe the likes of the Craig Irvines, the likes of the Skandar Razas. They have to step up. They have to bat for longer periods of time. Those that have been given opportunities as well, the likes of the Tony Munyongas in the limited overs, as well as the likes of the Nyasha Mayavos in the longer format, should be able to really punch their ticket and show exactly why they are there. It is important that they do that, because that's the only way that Zimbabwe is going to have all-round performances that will give them the results. For now, Brian Bennett is our shining star, but the rest of the order, especially in terms of batting, has to come to the party.
Thank you very much, Rainbow, for sharing your insights with us here on Newsplus. Well, that brings us to the end of our bulletin this Friday evening. Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Wadzanai Sansole. It is a good night from myself and the crew behind the scenes. Have a good weekend.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erika Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play. Ita, ita, ita,